Welcome back to another episode of Real Talk Naples with me, Blair White, and the crew at Blair White Team. This show is where we ditch the scripts and dive into real stories shaping life here in beautiful Naples, Florida. Today's episode is a big one, where we're talking about country clubs from the inside out and what it really takes to get into the golf scene down here in Naples. If you've ever asked, how do I get access to golf in Naples and what are my options? If I don't want to wait years to play, this is your episode. And we've got a seriously special guest in the house, Jonathan Guevara. Jonathan's the newest addition to my real estate team. But before joining us, he spent nearly 2 decades managing some of the top country clubs in the Southeast. From the Point Lake and Golf Club in North Carolina, now Trump National Charlotte, to the Forest here in Southwest Florida. Oh, and also he's a wine sommelier. So you know that these combos are gonna have some flavor. Jonathan, welcome to the show.
Thanks, Blair. I appreciate it.
Whew, that was a freaking mouthful.
That was a lot.
That was a lot. All right. So tell us a little bit about country clubs. You did 20 years prior to coming here. Sounds like I just introduced you getting out of prison.
Yeah, I know. Well, obviously, that just tells you how much, passion I have for the club world. I think it's, a very unique opportunity to be immersed in that kind of culture. I think a lot of people don't realize, how complex it can be with the operational side when it comes to staffing, when it comes to member retention, obviously golf course maintenance, things like that. So it's like running, a very high-end hospitality business, and the expectations are extremely high.
So how did you transition so easily from the whole entire country club scene to basically catering to their needs to now all of a sudden you're listening to one's needs when it comes to real estate and trying to help and guide them to the perfect property?
Well, a lot of it has to do with kind of like understanding what someone's looking for exactly. When it comes to golf in particular, you have a lot of options, whether it's, there you go.
Yes.
I think that's going to distract me more than that. But the transition for me was easy in the sense where I had a good understanding of what Southwest Florida, because we are in a community where there's a lot of golf courses, right? Mm-hmm. So if you're thinking about real estate, a lot of it's tied into that. So I think for me, knowing that made it very easy for me to transition into something like real estate. So I would say that that was an advantage for me.
Yeah.
So
I can see that. Just listening to someone's needs and making them feel comfortable.
Right. Yeah. When you're giving member service, when it comes to the service side, right, mm-hmm. with the membership, you obviously aim for best quality service, above and beyond things that you do for them. So almost 20 years of doing that, it just becomes very natural. So what can you do to give them more of a wow factor? And I think for me, that was always my position to kind of train that to my staff. Mm-hmm. So having that under my belt, I think was an advantage to understanding, the members and what kind of clients I'll be having. So,
it's funny you say that because listening is the one thing that a lot of people, any type of retail, they don't do. Mm-hmm. They would rather give somebody their opinions.
Right. Yeah.
Based upon, what they like and their perception. And the reality of it is that you need to, listen to what your, customer client, wants, needs, and then help them out. I always tell my kids, it's so funny, we have 2 ears and 1 mouth for a reason. Mm-hmm. Listen twice as much as you actually speak.
Right.
And, little things like that go a long way.
Yeah.
I'm curious though, what would you say is the biggest misconception of country clubs and how they're operated from the behind the scenes?
Man, if you took a day behind the scenes on, let's say, trying to get an event going, mm-hmm. Let's just say like member guests, like a tournament, like the amount of work it takes to get something like that prepped. We're talking about months in planning. But people don't also realize, there's a lot of issues when it comes to staffing. I know some of the times in my position, I had a hard time finding really good staff. And obviously, when you want to hire an employee at a club, you're pretty much hiring personality, and that's something members, they appreciate that kind of stuff. So when you have an employee or you have staff that's not willing to work, I even make sure you want to. I lost my train of thought here.
No, you're good. Good help is like really, really, really hard to find.
Yeah.
And especially when you live in an area that predominantly is where people come when they want to start settling down in life.
Mm-hmm.
No matter what income level you're at, whether you're retiring, whether you're just wanting to, truly get immersed in the outdoors, working is not the predominant thing. And, Naples is expensive, especially when it comes to the housing market.
Yeah,
so staffing is an issue, from an affordability standpoint. So we have a lot of people that come from, I've noticed, Fort Myers, they travel south, because housing is a little less expensive that way.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So that happens a lot.
Yeah, well, the last, since I was in the club world, staffing was also, it was hard to find good employment.
Mm-hmm.
Also, training was another big thing. Making sure everyone was on, the standards of the club and going above and beyond and meeting those expectations.
Mm-hmm.
And, so training was a huge one. You see a lot of clubs, you go into it, you see a lot of problems. How can we rectify that? How can we fix that? And when you have employees, for example, that have been there for 20 plus years, you have someone new coming in, they don't like change. So, how do you get them to surf the same wave you're trying to, what you're trying to change and make better? So there's a lot of complexity when it comes to that side of it within food and beverage, I would say. So
Gotcha. You have to adapt, and especially with times and how quickly stuff is changing with technology.
Yeah.
Which really flows in. I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, when I was working at the club in Orlando, Orlando is such a transient city, so you have a lot of staff that, are there for college and then they kind of go. So you're constantly, the turnover rate for employment is huge in clubs. So you want, what can we do to retain staff? How do we make them happy? Things like that. So it's always one of the things, as a manager, you have to keep that in mind and really make sure you're keeping employees happy. So, and building a good family culture. So.
Right. Yeah, having a good environment, is huge, and also obviously the pay. And I think that would kind of segue into a little, one of the main reasons why a lot of the clubs we have here in Naples are more expensive, quite frankly.
Yeah.
Because the level of service that our clientele requires, expects, the staff has to be compensated for that.
Mm-hmm.
Pelican Bay is definitely one of the most desirable developments for numerous reasons, in my opinion. But one of the biggest thing is, the club at Pelican Bay is, Jonathan, tell us a little bit about it. Why is it so desirable? Why does it have a 4+ year wait list? Why is it, I don't know how much money it costs, but.
Yeah, it's Pelican Bay, obviously, aside from its beauty and how gorgeous the community is, you have the club itself, which is a private club, so it's member owned. And that kind of segregates, that makes it more exclusive, when you have that long of a wait list. So I thought you were going to press the...
I didn't even catch it. That's all right.
No, but you have, your two private beaches there, your North and South Beach. You have the 27, hole Arthur Hills design golf course. The community itself, boasting high rises, and you have the condo lifestyle and, beautiful single family homes there as well. So,
but you don't have to be a member of the golf course in order to live within Pelican Bay, do you?
No. So,
tell our viewers a little bit about that.
So, when you purchase a home in Pelican Bay, it's not tied into golf membership. So it's pretty basic.
Just they're two separate, completely separate things.
Correct. Yes.
So if I go and I buy a condo in, say, Avalon, I believe is one of the subdevelopments within there. So I buy a condo within Avalon. What do I get to take part in without having to spend? And how much is the club membership again?
Right now, it's at $250,000 for the golf membership, the initiation fee.
Gotcha.
You have the social aspect as well. Social right now is at $50,000 for the year. So,
got it. So, obviously, I wouldn't be a member of the club, being there's a 4 to 5 year waiting list, meaning the golf club itself. So, what all amenities do I have within Pelican Bay, just living within this particular development?
Yeah, well, you have the pools. You also have the tennis center. So you have a lot of, their tennis is very huge in Pelican Bay. A lot of active people play tennis. They are doing a new 20 courts of pickleball.
Oh, wow.
That's coming here soon. So you have bocce as well. And then, you have the tram life that gives you access to the beach, things like that. So
Pelican Bay is actually, if I remember correctly, it was developed back in the early 80s. And it's pretty unique. So you have just right around 3 square miles of land that has been developed with a plethora of different subdivisions going throughout. 3 miles of beach, and you have a north beach and also a south beach.
Right.
And at each one of those beaches, you have a private restaurant. It is private just to Pelican Bay itself. And you get all of that with owning within Pelican Bay, correct?
That is correct, yes.
Got it.
So that's the membership that you get.
That's beautiful.
For that.
So for our viewers, I want to play golf. I'm moving down here from up north. I love Pelican Bay itself. I want to live here. Obviously, let's hypothetically say that I'm all right with spending, $250,000 for the membership. Where can I play in the interim, rather than, waiting 4 or 5 years?
Yeah, well, there's a lot of other options out there. So you have courses like Great Hawk Golf Club at the Everglades.
Okay.
That's one. You have the Vineyards, which is another one. And I would say you also have Quail Creek Village. I mean, those are all private, non-bundled golf communities, which means that you can purchase a home within that community and not have the golf membership tied to it.
Gotcha.
So that in return gives it more flexibility in the sense of not having to be on a wait list like Pelican Bay.
So tell me a little bit about the Vineyards.
Yeah, so the Vineyards is very popular. They have a very big social community. So they're huge in that. They have 2 golf courses there. So right now there's no wait list to get into the Vineyards. So that's a huge perk. So a lot of people find that, very, I guess I would say it's convenient. And it's in a good location too. So.
Gotcha. Where exactly is it located at? Is it more central or is it north, south?
Yeah, it's more central, a little north.
So it's located just east of 75. So the Vineyards has how many golf courses?
2.
2 golf courses. All right, 2 complete 18-hole golf courses.
Yes.
Gotcha. That's awesome. And they have a huge fitness center. There's a lot of people that flock towards just the social aspect of it, I think you were saying.
Yeah. Bocce is a great social sport. It's huge. I mean, it's been huge for a while now. A lot of people in this area love to play bocce just because the social aspect. You can drink and have fun and talk and congregate and things like that. So.
Gotcha. How much does it cost to join the Vineyards?
So for golf membership, it's $150,000.
150. So okay, so it's less than on Pelican Bay.
Yes.
Gotcha. I know it's very desirable as well, and that's huge that you don't have to be an actual resident within Vineyards in order to join the full, golf membership or the social, quite frankly. So I know a lot of people that actually join just the social portion in order to have a really good cuisine. The chef there is pretty.
Well, yeah, you have
two. Really
you have 2 big 2 chefs that are very reputable in the golf world, and they do a really good job there. And I know we've spoken to several people that just love the restaurant side of it. And
Matter of fact, aren't you working with a client right now looking to move from Pelican Bay there just because of the actual cuisine?
Yeah, he
interesting.
doesn't play golf. He doesn't really care about more of the social side, but he loves the food there. So it's like one of the things that he mentioned was a reason to why he was looking at that specific community. So
Gotcha.
yeah, and the fact that it's still private. I mean, people like that as well. So.
So, golf club at the Everglades. Let's kind of segue over to there because it was just a standalone course for a long time. Very few members. I think they're right around 270, 280 members if my mind's not going crazy on me right now. But then Greyhawk went in, that is the actual community, started developing, and they started attaching memberships to the homes, correct?
Right, yes.
So tell a little bit about that.
So you have, I mean, it's just more of an incentive to purchase a house when you have the golf membership tied into it, because the great thing about that is you don't have any initiation fees that you have to pay separately. So a lot of people prefer that. I mean, so that's more of like the bundled side of things. And it's just easy access. You have instant golf play versus having to wait on, being on a wait list, things like that. So.
And one unique thing about golf club at the Everglades is that they do not have any type of tee system.
Yeah.
So they are such a smaller, good old fashioned country boy.
Yeah. So
you walk on tee time.
Correct. Yeah. You schedule tee time early in the morning, make sure you have a good time, and you're pretty much on the course. So yeah, it's convenient for a golfer that's not,
That's my speed.
Yeah. Exactly. Pretty much.
Show up when you want to show up and you get to play, and that's how it works.
Yeah. So
that's awesome. So we have Pelican Bay, the Vineyards,
right,
Greyhawk, which is coupled with Golf Club of the Everglades, and you had mentioned one other one,
Quail Creek Village.
Quail Creek Village.
Yeah, so that one's kind of located right off of Logan and Immokalee. So it's out there, but it's a great course out there, which is also non-bundled community. So you have the same thing where you can be a member there and not have to live there specifically. So
okay, so in other words, somebody living off of 123 Golf Drive can go inside Quail Creek and purchase a full golf membership without having to actually own a home within Quail Creek.
Yeah, that's the beauty of it. So.
I'm actually showing a couple of homes in Quail Creek right now. And that just clicked with me. They do a huge, every single summer, they do a juniors league there.
Okay, yeah.
And they just redid the whole entire clubhouse. So I primarily stay in South Naples, as you know. So when I get to North, it's a little different. It's completely different, just, area.
Geographically?
Yeah, an area of real estate.
Yeah.
So for the golfer that's on a budget, let's hypothetically say that you don't play a ton, but you want to play a lot of courses. Is there even an option for that?
There is. So I think you're trying to get at with the summer PGA golf pass, right? So, which in my opinion, I think is one of the best things they've done here. So you could buy a card for $60 and you have access to 77 golf courses just within Lee County and Collier County.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, it's a good way to learn and explore different golf communities without having to commit to anything long term. So how that works is you have so it starts in May and it ends in October. And you get discounted rates, especially on the green fees. I think it's like $50 and below. So that's a huge advantage for a lot of golfers, especially during the summertime here. So you see it all the time.
And Treviso Bay is actually one of them. I'm sitting here looking at it now.
Yeah, you have some good courses.
Here, I think I can pull them all up.
Yeah. So yeah, you select, there's a Collier right there. I think it's got 30 golf courses.
37.
37. And then you have 40 in just Lee County. So
why don't we explain to the viewers, so let's use a different scenario. You want to move to Southwest Florida. You want to play golf. You don't want to have to, you want to stay within your community. You're more of a homebody. And And what I'm getting at is like, why don't we tell them the difference between a bundled golf community and a non-bundled?
Sure. So with a bundled golf community, the golf membership is included in the home purchase. So when you buy a property, you have instant golf play. Now, a non-bundled community like the vineyards, things like those communities, they're private. So when you purchase a home, you don't have golf membership. You could always purchase that separately. So that's pretty much the difference between those two. So
Got it. So Treviso Bay is a golf bundle community, correct? Some other condos, I think, have golf attached to it.
yeah.
So they would have a condo due and then also a master HOA, which would include all of their golfing and also all of their rights to all the amenities throughout Treviso Bay,
Yeah.
which is also a TPC course, I think.
Yep. PGA, yeah.
That's super cool. So it's more
That's
of
a
a
good spot.
convenient way.
Yeah.
Instant golf, no wait list, no initiation fee. You're in.
That's the beauty of it. I mean, that's what, if you're a golfer looking for that instant, you want that experience of going to like something that's more of that luxury lifestyle, then yes, that's definitely for you.
So Jonathan, I have a question. If you're a member of a bundle golf community, obviously there's a ton of people that are wanting to play, and they're wanting to play. Everybody wants to get out, play first thing in the morning to get it done because it gets really hot here, when it comes to evening time. They want to get back home with their families, et cetera, et cetera. Are there any type of system set up for a fairness?
Yeah, so you have two systems. A lot of golf communities use this, the Chelsea and the Fortis point system. They're all point based. So pretty much it's just based on fairness depending on your handicap. And that's just kind of how it works. So
So to my understanding, you're allocated a certain number of points, and depending upon when you go out and play, you either gain or you lose points, because obviously they cannot give all the most desirable tee times first thing in the morning to the same particular couple.
Right.
Every single morning at 8:30 they want to play. They have that tee time, and it's not available for anybody else.
Yeah.
That wouldn't be fair.
Yeah, I will also mention that here in Southwest Florida, obviously our season is January through March. So if you're trying to make a tee time, I would recommend doing it 7 to 10 days in advance, because then you're going to end up with a 2 p.m. tee time.
Understood.
So.
And that's where the system, gives it an even playing field for everybody.
Yeah.
To where somebody cannot just continuously, take one spot that's the most desirable.
Yeah, and the system obviously would, try to figure out, the best way to keep the play, at a good speed. So.
Got it. Tell me about your sommelier.
Well, it was one of the hardest things I ever accomplished.
Really?
Yeah. So
Why is that?
It's very demanding as far as the information you need to know. Like, for example, Italy. They have 9,000 different grapes just in Italy. So it's just like you have to know so much about these little things. And you have like all these other countries, so
Well, let me back up a
study.
little bit. So what exactly does this title mean? Because for somebody that doesn't drink wine, it's just
pretty much you're certified to be like a wine expert. So you have the knowledge on wine, spirits. It's not just wine. It's also, your liquor, beer is a huge one, and then cigars. So you have to kind of have a good understanding of all those different things. So I decided to add another feather in my hat. So I was like, you know what? Let me try to get my certification in being a wine sommelier. So the test was very difficult. So I remember there was like 80 of us taking the test, and in the end, it was like it was broken down into 3 different segments. So the first segment is a test. You have 100 questions you have to answer within 30 minutes. So it's all theory. So it's like talking about, there's actually a lot of math questions in that, but just different, countries, and tell me about the grapes there and things like that, and vineyards. So you have to answer that. That's the first part of the test. If you fail that, then you fail the whole certification. So the second portion is wine tasting. So you have three white wine glasses in front of you, and you have to break that up. So you have to tell, you would have to tell them the difference. So what I say is like the three V's. So you have to talk about the vintage, the vineyard.
Okay.
And man, what's the third V? Maybe we could skip that part. But you had to tell the year of the wine.
Okay.
So just by looking at it, you had to say, okay, this wine's from 2018. You know, it's
just by looking at it, like
right.
the color of it.
Yeah, you would have to describe the notes of the wine, what kind of wine it is, so what
When you
the
say
grape
notes,
is.
what do you mean?
So if it's got like peach notes,
All right.
so you have to talk about. So that kind of helps understand what specific wine it is. So if it's a Chardonnay, then you would have to. You have to say it's a Chardonnay from 2018, and this is the vineyard where it came from. Let's just say somewhere in Burgundy.
Okay.
So you would have to say that to the three wines and kind of break it down specifically. So that's the second portion of the test. And the third one is a wine presentation. So I remember, so you have a master som sitting at a table, and my specific som, so it was like a little round, square table. He was sitting there by himself, and I had to do a champagne presentation. So obviously when you open a bottle of champagne, the correct way is not to make it pop. So everyone that, opens the champagne, the big pop noise, you can't do that. So that's instant fail. So,
Okay.
So just imagine this guy just throwing questions at you while you're opening a bottle of champagne, and he's just asking like, what's the drink in Chile, what's their famous drink? And you have to like talk about it. And then he was like, okay, I'm here celebrating my mother's birthday here at the Breakers Hotel. And, it was funny because I was like, oh, happy birthday. I was playing along with like the pretend person in the table. So I was just like wishing her happy. Yeah, thanks for coming at the Breakers to celebrate with us. So it was just like, it's the service aspect of it. So, but at the same time, you're opening a bottle of champagne and you're pouring it. So when you pour champagne, obviously you have that fizz that comes up really quick. So you have to make sure it doesn't overflow, things like that. And I think I nailed that really well because I open bottles of wine all the time. So
Gotcha.
I've had that huge advantage with working in hospitality where it kind of gave me that, that extra boost of confidence when it came to opening a bottle of champagne. So
how long did the certification take from beginning to end?
So there's actually 4 levels.
Okay.
The 4th level is being a master som, which
Okay.
is actually one of the hardest things to accomplish, they say.
Okay.
So there's, I'm not sure, right? Well, back then when I was studying it, there was like over 200 people that were master soms. So it's just it's really hard to achieve that. So I'm level 2. So I got past the entry level, and then I got certified as a sommelier. So
Okay.
the 3rd level would be more of an advanced som. But obviously with, my career, my position, I didn't really have the time to pursue that level. So there's just like, it's good to have knowledge in wine, especially in hospitality. I think it's always a perk. So, but I've always had a passion for wine, and just like knowing like the history behind it, and like what they used to do to create it, because it's like a science, it's an art. People don't realize there's just so much to it, and I just kind of love that stuff. So I remember having my sister at the time. There's a place in Park Ave in Winter Park, where it's kind of like it's a wine store, but
Okay.
you're able to kind of it's got like all these different wines you can just sample. And she brought me 2 glasses of champagne over, and I just broke it down to her, and she was just like shocked. She had no idea. Like she was just like, "Wow, how did you know that?" And I think it's just you have to drink a lot of wine to understand, because everyone's palate is different, and understanding like the differences between wine, it's confusing. Like whether a Chianti from Italy versus like a Tempranillo from Spain, like how do you know those 2 differences? So it's unique, and I love it. So
Interesting. You're
Yeah.
passionate about it. So what is your go-to? What is your holy grail bottle of wine?
I don't know, man.
Take price out the equation. It doesn't matter.
Well, yeah, I tell a lot of people that it's not about the price when it comes to wine, because obviously the instant thought is like, oh, the more expensive, the better the wine is. In some cases, obviously, that is the case. Like you can spend thousands of dollars on like Screaming Eagle, for example. You know, it's a very sought out wine. Or you can buy a wine at Costco for like $20 and still get, you know, just the same, you know, taste. So, yeah, I don't really have one in specific, but I prefer old world wine.
Okay.
So when I say old world is anything that's like in Europe, that's considered old world. But for me, Spanish wines and Italian wines are my go-to. So, and I would say Burgundies in France too, but I don't know, I just have more of the earth feel taste. I prefer that versus something that's more like textbook California cab, you know? So.
What would you say is the most underrated bottle of wine?
It's been, let me see. I know a lot of people love Meiomi Pinot Noir.
Mm-hmm.
It's a very easy wine to drink. It's got a lot of sugar, and I think that's probably why. But I would say, I don't know. That's there can be a lot, but I think Meiomi, for what they do, I think it's a pretty good wine. You know, for it to be a good segue for those that don't drink wine much. So it's a Pinot Noir, which is lighter versus like a heavy cab or anything, you know, or if someone doesn't like white wine. So Pinot Noir is kind of like a good mix of that. So I think that would be, you know, something I would say, especially for the beginner wine drinkers, you know, try something like that. And obviously get into the heavy hitters.
So when it comes to Naples, what is the one of the restaurants that you would recommend people go into in order to, if they're a big wine drinker? Like we have a handful of places that have private wine clubs, like the Maddox, for example, over in Bay Shore, and also I forget the name of the place.
Rebecca's.
Yeah,
they just opened up that place over there not too long ago. I mean, a couple of years now, but I remember going there, and I mean, just the atmosphere itself is amazing. Just because you get to socialize with a lot of people, and everyone's just talking about wine and things like that. It's a good little spot there. I would recommend people to go check that place out for sure. I wish they had more places where it was just wine focused here. Hopefully down the road, maybe they will. But coming from Orlando's such a big food and wine scene, so I'm just kind of spoiled with that. But
here's a couple of fun facts for you, and also for our viewers. So like Esplanade, which is also a huge golf course community. Mm-hmm. If I remember correctly, they have lockers, you know, which is a big thing at a lot of country clubs, correct?
It is, yeah. So
tell our viewers about what lockers are.
Yeah, so actually, when I joined the Forest, they just started their locker system.
Okay.
And so what the lockers is, it's almost like if bragging rights, essentially, I would say. Like if you have a wine locker, you're like, you know, on a different level, you know, you have your private stash, you know, people's like, so the great thing about lockers is typically when you have a membership, like let's say a wine group at a club, and you're part of that wine group, you have these, you know, that amenity of having a locker. You have like first dibs on it. So if you have the wine locker, you can purchase wine at a discounted rate at the club. Typically it's like 10% less. So you can buy cases of wine. Then you have the options of being part of the wine dinners. And, you know, that's more of like an exclusive setting because you typically would have someone from outside come in and kind of talk about the wine. And sometimes it could be, you know, the vineyard, the winemaker themselves there. So it kind of gives it a different feel. So, but the wine lockers, you can store your wine in the wine locker, and you can go to the club, and you know have someone come take it out. And I mean that's just pretty much what it is. I remember almost signing up for one at the Cave. There's like a little restaurant here. I don't know if you've heard of the Cave.
Yeah.
And they have wine lockers. I remember my first time going there. I'm like, oh, that's so cool. Like I want to see what that's about. So, because it's like kind of like you go there, and we had dessert with my family. Went and me and my brother-in-law, we were talking about like, oh, maybe, you know, let's kind of look into it. But you know, obviously that didn't pan out. But it gives you that extra feel of like important, like you're, you know, I have a wine locker there kind of thing. So It's just like a talking point, I guess. But a lot of clubs have those, and I think it's great. So
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Bragging rights. I love it.
Yeah.
360 Market. Okay, I'm sorry. 360 Wine, which is Rebecca Maddox. She also, opened up the Maddox. One really cool thing is 360 stands for $3.60 over her cost. So, just for all of our viewers out there, anybody ever want to look to get a good deal on mass quantities of wine, or if you just want to go and buy a bottle, that I'm telling you, that's the go-to.
Yeah, I mean, wine is I can't say much about it, but when I honestly I skipped from drinking beer to going straight to wine, and it's kind of rare because people start liquor and beer. Obviously, when you're like in your early years and going to college, no one's like drinking wine. So, but I think I was at a different level with wine. So
awesome. Well, Jonathan, thank you so much for your insight and all of your stories. I mean, it's true. It's like a breath of fresh air. It is. I love when new team members come to the team and they bring all of their just personality. It's rewarding for me. So thank you so much. I really appreciate that.
Of course, man. I think, for me, being a part of a team like this is also, rewarding because, someone like you that's mentoring and giving advice, I think that's also important. So thank you to you too and for having me. So
you're welcome.
Yeah, man.
Most definitely. Remember, if you're buying, selling, or you just want to see what's happening around town, we got your back. Blair White Team, 239-270-8614. Changing the landscape of how agents perform. That's what we're all about. Real talk. Blair White Team.
Yeah, I even made sure.
Blah, blah, blah. Fuck. There's going to be some good bloopers in this one. And what it's really like. Oh, no. And what it's really. Oh, nah.
Whether it's. There you go. Yes. I think that's good.